Oh, I want to make sure everybody can hear me this morning on this good morning. If you can hear me, can you please just say so in the chat? And good morning, Miss Beyond. Look like we may have been having a little mic malfunction. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and go on, and I'm going to assume that y'all can hear me. Um, yes, great, Marion. Thank you so much. All right. Um, I'm going to just do my little intro just real quick over again because I don't think you guys heard me the first time. Today's episode is about celebrating life. It's about embracing every moment with gratitude and joy, even amidst loss and sorrow. It's dedicated to the memory of my good friend Brandon Harris, who was murdered recently, and to every loved one that we've lost too soon. But this isn't a sad show. This show is about finding joy and cultivating gratitude in our lives, even amidst sorrow. It's about embracing every precious moment that we have with the people because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I want to thank y'all for being here with me today. So I want to start by talking about a little bit about loss. And hey, everybody over in TikTok, if you've got something you want to say, let me know. We're broadcasting live on KCCR Cityscape Radio. And when we lose somebody, right, our hearts really are like a canvas of emotions. We're going to feel deep sorrow. We're going to have a longing sometimes that echoes even in our quietest moments, right? But there's also times when those memories don't just bring sadness and tears, but they bring smiles, gentle reminders of the love and the joy that we shared with these people. It's like a dance of contrasting emotions. One minute you're up, you're happy. The next minute you can be a mess and lying in a puddle on the floor. But each step that we take is a part of our healing journey. And we don't want to remember our friends in a negative light. We want to be able to remember the good times and not think of our friends and cry every time. I want to make sure that I'm helping you guys to get through as well, because I know you guys I'm not the only one hurting today. And if you want to come on and share your story and hold on. If you want to come into the show and you would like to share your story live, you can come on in. I'm going to put the link in the comments so you can come on in and you can join us, because I want this to really be a celebration of life. I want us to be able to remember our friends and give a shout out to our loved ones that have gone too soon. But we also need to know that it's okay to have these emotions. It is okay to break down. It is okay to reach out to your loved ones, your family, and your friends for support when you're hurting. I know it's hard when you're trying to think about, I've got kids potentially with this person, or this is my child and I never thought I would have to bury my child. Whew. And I know it's hard planning funerals, trying to make sure all your loved ones' affairs are in order, trying to figure out how you're going to navigate life without this person in your life. Whether that be your husband, your wife, your best friend, a parent, a child. We have to give time for grief. We have to give ourselves time to heal, and nobody can tell you how long that's going to take. And grief is not a linear path. It is not a straight path. Think of it more like waves on the ocean. Sometimes it's calm, but sometimes a storm is brewing and it is so overwhelming. Sometimes it feels like we're going to drown in those waves. Why is it dropping people in and out? But one day you might find yourself laughing, remembering that person, reminiscing on the good times, and really the next you're in tears. You're feeling that person's absence. Grief is personal and unique to each of us. Good morning, Sharonda.
Mwah! Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How was your weekend? Well, I guess it's your week because it's Thursday.
Right, yeah, it's going pretty good. Trying to thaw out. Now that it's warm, I can get out and about. So I'm a
Warm is
right up.
not warm ain't a
Yeah,
thing right now. Warm is not a thing right now. I would like to state that for the record.
ma'am. Yes, it is. Cause I treated this like the doggone pandemic, and I did not leave my house while it was fucking like teens,
Yeah,
and it
I
just
get it.
I
I get it.
the way my arthritic bones be working and stuff.
When you get to a certain age, you cannot just, do all that young people stuff. So,
Yeah, I get somebody else to do it
um,
because mm-hmm.
please. But it's okay. We gonna make it through. We gonna make it over. So, today we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about grief and loss, and
Mm-hmm.
but finding happiness amidst all of that, and remembering our loved ones, and finding out how we can find joy and cultivate gratitude during these times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking about the grieving process, and that how it's very personal and unique to each of us. And nobody can tell you how long is an appropriate time to mourn somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's an ebb, there's always going to be an ebb and a flow to your feelings. It might be 10, 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
you still can melt into tears behind the loss of a loved one.
Girl, it could be a song, it could be a picture,
A
it could
smell.
be a smell, somebody saying something that my loved one used to say, and I just feel some kind of. It could be a date. It
Yes,
can be all of the things.
yes. And that's the thing. But whatever it is, right? It's essential
Mm-hmm.
that we realize that there's no proper way to grieve.
Mm-mm. There's no
Now
doggone.
we don't want you to grieve by doing things that are going to hurt you or hurt other people, drinking excessively, drugs and all of that as a coping mechanism. We want you to find positive ways to
Mm-hmm.
handle your grief. And if that means you have to go talk to a professional, baby, go talk to them.
By
Go,
all means, talk to family members. Talk to we since my mom passed. A friend of a friend's mom has had my siblings and I in like a. She's wrapped us up in like a
yes.
group text message full of encouragement and love and praise and just checking on us. And I just realized it's been 3 years since my mom's been gone. And sometimes those doggone scriptures be hitting some kind of way. Sometimes it's just so I'm way better, but it could take any of the things that I listed to just send me off on the deep end and stuff,
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
a different thing.
definitely. I have days where I'll go without crying. Like my friend
Mm-hmm.
Brandon was he was murdered on January 5th. So this is
Oh,
still fresh, you know.
ugh. Mm-hmm. 30 years later, it's still fresh.
It's still fresh when
Mm-hmm.
you lose somebody. I had another friend. I've had two friends murdered within a year's time,
Jesus,
right?
girl. Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like there's been so much loss, there's so much grief sometimes that we feel like it's going to that we're wrapped up in that grief, and we are so overwhelmed by it and consumed by it.
Mm,
But I want us to realize that yes, that's going to happen. There's a process. You have to start that healing process. But what I've been trying to do is sometimes I'll do busy work, not even busy work, things to keep my mind occupied,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
But I also take the time to grieve. I take the time to remember my friend and all the good times that we've shared, because my friend Brandon was such a good dude.
mm,
He was such a good dude. He like everybody else had challenges in his life, but he was able to me he's the true testament of what a man is, because he turned his life around from being young and doing some stupid things in his younger years to having
ooh,
full custody of his children, you know, taking care of his family. But not only that, being the best supporter. Like, he was the plug. He knew everybody. He never met a stranger. And he could talk. He could talk, run his mouth. But he would also go out of his way to help people. If he knew you had a business and he ever heard anybody needed your service, he was going to speak you up. He was going to hype you up. And
mm,
everybody who knew him loved him. And so when we lose somebody like that unexpectedly,
mm,
we have to figure out what our new normal is. And we cannot let our new normal be, I'm going to waste away and I'm going to let this sorrow consume me, because I know Brandon wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want that for me. You know, our loved ones don't want that for us. They don't want us to follow them and be so consumed that we can't get out of it. Society often expects a neat linear progression for how we deal with grief, but that's just not reality. They give you X amount of weeks when you have a baby to bond with that child. Most companies, if they do have bereavement, their bereavement be a couple of days sometimes. It's not like
girl,
you're
hold on
gonna
for a second. I got friend. Remember, I was telling you about my friend that died of the heart attack like two or
get,
3 days after I retired. Well, how about I found out that the doggone office only they made people that wanted to support him at his service put in leave, girl.
yeah,
Put in leave. You couldn't put us on. Girl, I'm just
right. You
like,
couldn't give us
see,
one day. You couldn't give us one day, a half
as
a
much
day,
as he meant
whatever.
to this organization, you charge, girl, petty
Mhm.
as fuck, petty as fuck.
You know, but that one that lets us know we have to do a really good job at understanding the companies that we work for and the
Mm-hmm.
culture that they are putting out into the culture that they say they have, and then the real culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know this person, you lost a loved one, you lost a coworker, why were there not counseling services? Because if they made you guys take leave, they damn sure didn't give y'all counseling services, grief
Mm-hmm.
counselors to help deal with that, right?
Mm,
We have to
mm,
find
mm,
ways to
mm,
support and be supported. We have to
mm,
put what we want to see out into the world, and sometimes we have to demand it,
mm,
right? But our pain, right? Grieving openly and sharing our pain and our memories isn't a burden to others. And a lot of times we don't want to do it because we think it is. You don't want to dump too much on somebody, on their shoulders. You don't want to trauma dump on people. But that's
mm,
why you have friends, because when you're weak, they're strong. That's why you have those friends and family, the ones you know you can rely on. And it's a bridge to deeper connections, a shared understanding of life's fragility, but also life's beauty. I try to, when I think about Brandon, I think about my friend Jason, my friend Tasha, who passed unexpectedly, my friend
Mm-hmm.
Rosita, who passed unexpectedly out of the blue. I remember the good times. I remember I can laugh and bring stories up about each of these people and how they impacted my life. And I choose to remember them in that way. I want to honor their
Absolutely.
memory with happiness and joy, but also living up to who they know that I was and who the life that they spoke into me as a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I just so thinking about it, because my friend's birthday was a couple of days after Reese's birthday on the 14th. And now that it's been over a year, I figured out that the reason why I cried so deeply and guttural is because of the absence that he has in my life in the physical. But
Yes.
then I can turn around and laugh and chuckle and share with our coworker that's still there. It was four of us. Two of us retired and one passed, and she's still there. And I can share times with her of, shenanigans that we would get up
Yes.
to in the office and stuff. It just relive moments that truly made mundane office work fun, because you got to think about it. You're driving 45 minutes twice a day. You're at work for
Mhm.
9 hours a day, and there you have your waking hours at an organization that keep trying to tell you they don't give a damn about you, but while you're there you have to actively make it fun. And that way
Yes.
your days go by fast, and you got your ranger buddies that you shoulder to shoulder in the trenches of this
Yeah.
shit, and you're with these people more than you are with your family and your loved ones and
Mhm.
stuff. And if you're working in a hostile work environment, or a subtly hostile work environment, if that makes sense,
Yes.
when you're sitting next to people that's there with you and witnessing and going through right along with you, so you're never by yourself. Because girl, whoo, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yes, that person is no longer in our lives, but like you said, you have got to work every day to continue to be the person that they spoke that wisdom in, they encouraged, that they
Yes.
propped up when
Yes.
your
Yes.
own spine wasn't trying to work for you and stuff. Like, look at me, like you can't even.
Baby, you can't even sit up straight. You feel so crazy, and you like, what is going on with me? What's happening in my life? I can't. You all afflicted, leaned over, like that's
Girl,
when your friends are there to really hold you up.
yes,
That's when
yes.
you have to lean on the shoulders of the people who are around you.
Mm-hmm,
And you know who they are. Some at work, some in your personal, your home life,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right in your
mm-hmm,
community.
mm-hmm,
You have to know who is there for you and who's real. Those
mm-hmm,
real resources are who are going to show up and show out for you and love you to wholeness. That's what
mm-hmm.
one of my friends, my good friend Sharon Richardson, um, an amazing and phenomenal fashion designer, celebrity fashion designer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she would say. She never says, I love you to death. She never
Right.
said, you're my ride or die. She always speaks life. She says, you're my ride or ride, or I love you to wholeness.
I love
She
that.
speaks love and she speaks life into everything that she says, right? And those are the people that you want to have around you. Those are
Mm-hmm,
the people that can help turn that sadness and that sorrow into joy and gratitude for you,
mm-hmm.
right? A lot of times society expects or they paint this picture of grief. We're supposed to be quiet dignified, grieve like this. Okay. Something to be handled privately
Girl,
behind
please,
closed
I'ma
doors.
cry when I need to. I do you know the energy it takes to hold that shit back, ma'am? Ma'am.
Look, we've cried on this show. We have cried on this show more than once. Guests, hosts, everybody crying
And
because it is
ain't it all.
cleansing. It is cleansing. It is healing. There is nothing wrong with crying, men and women. And we have to let go of that narrative that there is, that
Hmm.
we have to be this stoic and strong person all the time, right? Some of us find solace in solitude, but
Mm-hmm.
some of us seek comfort in community and in open expression. We need to be around more people who love us and give us light and love and energy. There's an unexpected, unspoken expectation sometimes, especially in our community,
Mm-hmm.
to maintain strength and to keep it together because we've got funerals to plan, we've got things, we've got affairs we have to get in order. I'm the strong one in the family, so everybody's going to look to me. Nobody's really helping a lot. When we took my grandmother off life support and she passed,
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask my daughter what year it was because I don't have a memory that can tell you years. My daughter can usually tell me the year, but who was it that was cleaning out my grandmother's place? Me,
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, and my aunt. My
Mm-hmm.
uncle came by to do what he could and support us how he could, but that was it of our big ass family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Ain't
Who,
that
but
something?
who had their hands up for stuff all the time, real quick? Okay, who did the program? Me, right? Who made sure all the church and stuff was together? My aunt, right? My aunt, like, but we're grieving too.
Mm-hmm.
We're grieving too during this process, but we're looked at like we have to be the rock and the foundation for everybody and not cry. That is false. It is crucial that we challenge these falsities and these norms that have been set upon us, especially as Black women.
Hmm.
Grieving openly, sharing our pain and sharing our memories, the good memories.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we need. There is strength in our vulnerability sometimes. Resilience is what we're taught. We're taught to be very resilient because we're going to make it through and we're going to go through and just keep on trucking along. Everybody is not that strong. Sometimes people are going to break and you have to be there to support those who are breaking and those who broke. And we have to not be afraid that I can't break because the next person might break. We just can't do that. That puts more stress on us. That endangers our lives.
Hmm.
The goal is for us to learn how to live happy, healing, and fulfilling lives. That's the goal. The goal is for us to learn how to navigate this new normal that we live in without our loved ones. I wouldn't call myself clairvoyant, but um, I'm open, is what I'll call it.
Hmm.
My my great grandmother, when she passed, used to come to me in dreams a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one who found her. And so for a long time, I had a lot of guilt around her death, even though she died of natural causes, because she used to tell us, y'all don't never come back in this room and check on me. I could be dead and you wouldn't even know.
Jeez.
And that rang in my head. I was walking with one of my friends, and I'm a teenager, okay? I was walking with one of my friends, and she was like, I was telling her that my grandma just passed. And so we were just going out to get some fresh air. She said, "Was your grandmother's name Rosemary?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I have this thing. Somebody who's recently passed, She sees their name somewhere, usually like on the ground or somewhere. She'll see that name the day or the time that person passes. Freaked
Mm.
me the hell out. Freaked me the hell out. But I carried a lot of guilt around that. And so my great grandmother would come to me in dreams. And in my dream, I knew she was passed away, she was gone. But it was never a fear, it was never scared. She was always comforting me and doing things that would make me laugh. Like when we were, like, my grandma was a big woman, but she was so light on her feet. She would tiptoe throughout the house. And when my grandmother was cooking, she'd always be tipping into the pots and stuff like that because she could creep through the house and you would not hear her. Creaky floorboards, be
Stealthy.
damn stealth, right? When my grandmother passed, she came to me in dreams. So our loved ones are still with us, even through
Yeah.
our pain, years after. They are always up there. To me, they become the ancestors, they become our guardian angels. They are the ones that are helping us make it through these next tough times. And instead of looking at and sitting in the pain all the time, now I'm not telling you don't sit in that pain. We head into the storm so that we can get through the storm faster. We feel the feelings when we need to feel them, but we do not allow ourselves to be consumed by them. Oh, Suki, now look who's joining us.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, Tony.
How
Well,
Morning.
are you?
good. Good
Our
timing.
favorite DJ, Tony Sanchez, here with us this morning.
Okay, he's gonna take my place. I gotta sign off, but you
All right,
guys,
thank you.
it, every little bit counts and stuff. But I
Yes,
want to give our audience some kind of inkling that you are not alone.
yeah,
Feel your feels, but still get up and go do what you're supposed to do because you know your loved ones would not allow you not to do the damn thing. You
yes,
hear me?
yes.
So y'all be good. Have a good rest of the show. You guys have a great day. Feel your feels, but get up and go to damn work. You hear me?
Period. We still got
Hmm.
things to do. We still got life to live, and it's
Absolutely.
okay. And sometimes I think we feel guilty about feeling happy when we feel like we're supposed to feel sorrow all the time. And it's okay to be happy even while you're grieving the loss of someone.
I want that for my friend that had the heart attack. I want that for his wife. She
Yes.
not really doing well mentally and in the physical and a lot of her left with him. I know that it's painfully obvious, but I wish for her. I'm speaking to her in the spirit, and I'm asking the universe to carry this to her.
Yes.
Know that we called ourselves his sisters. It was three of us, three females and one male. So we are his sisters that are still here, and we're still here for her. Like you're
Yeah.
not by yourself. Yes, you got to go and take care of things. She doesn't want to be in the house by herself, and she decided to sell her house and stuff because they built it
They built it
before he
together.
passed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to be in that space.
yeah. So
Yeah.
love on those that you know are going through to help them through because
Yes.
they could be lost walking on this earth, missing their loved ones and stuff. And
Yeah.
my prayer for you today, Stacy Valenzuela is her name. I love you and know that we're here for you. So,
And
anyways, I
Stacy
love y'all.
Valenzuela, we are sending our love and our prayers to you always.
So I'll see y'all on Monday. Be safe and have a safe
Monday.
weekend.
So how are you today, big bro? How are you doing today?
Giving thanks and honor to the Creator. Even though situations arise, you still got to deal with what you got to deal with, man. I've been having
Yes.
a plumbing issue all night. My neighbors upstairs done something, and now I got a big hole in my bathroom ceiling and water just
Oh
leaking down.
no. I
So,
am so
but
sorry to hear that.
yeah, but it is what it is.
I had that where they were using the wrong sort of pipe or something in my sink.
The snake.
So it was draining, and it was literally, it would be buckets pouring into my downstairs room. They
Mhm.
had to come and repair the ceiling. They had to come and repair the floor in the lit on in the kitchen under the sink. So I get it. And
Yeah,
they had to come back a couple of times because they didn't do it
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard when you're having those, but I do appreciate you being here, even though you got some challenges you're trying to work through. Today is a beautiful day, and we're talking about grief and loss, and we're talking about how do we find happiness and cultivate gratitude when we are experiencing and going through those moments of sorrow and depression and loss, you know?
Mm,
And what I was talking about before Sharonda left was being vulnerable, being able to be vulnerable, and finding people that you can be vulnerable with. Because showing vulnerability takes courage. It is not easy to be vulnerable, especially if you are the strong one.
mm.
If
Yeah.
you are seen as the strong one in your family, in your community, a lot of times my friends will tell me I've seen LeAnne cry maybe once or twice. I cry,
Mhm.
but like everybody else, I'm used to being the strong one. So when I know that my friends are weak, I will be strong for them. I will, because we have to hold each other up in these times. And sharing our grief with somebody, reaching out your hand for help, doesn't make us any less capable. It makes us more human. It invites people to be empathetic towards us, it invites healing. And it also brings about what I feel is like a collective strength that we get from knowing that we're not alone in our experiences. Grief is sometimes a very lonely feeling because you feel like you don't want to bother nobody. You don't want to burden somebody with your sorrow. It's never a burden. So even though you may be feeling isolated, we have to remember that you do have a support system, even if it's one person that you can talk to, even if it's a bunch of strangers online in a chat session somewhere. There's a support system that can be out there for you. And if you're not the one going through it, be the support system for somebody else. Check in with somebody. Ask them, do you need me to come and sit with you? How are you doing? Have you eaten? Just send them food sometimes. Send them a meal because they need that help. There'll be times when they forget to eat or they just don't even feel like they have the strength to eat. And share those positive times. Ask them about good times with their loved one. Ask them how that went so that they can remember the good times. Because sometimes we're so bogged down in that grief, we can't even think about the good times. And we have to lean into our support system. We have to allow ourselves grace to be supported and grace to cry and to grieve openly and to find comfort in the collective love and support from our community, whether it be one person or whether it be 100. So, how do you, Tony, handle kind of the roller coaster of emotions that come with losing someone really close to you?
Mm, that's a real good question too. For me, I always go in my prayer closet. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Cause I know me of myself. All I'm gonna do is make the situation worse. You know, if I just act on that impulse when I first get the news, and my reaction from it is And if I just go with that, I'm just gonna be all discombobulated.
Yes.
I know this. So my main thing is for me is whenever I hear about a loved one or a friend, you know, making that transition, I always go into my prayer closet asking for guidance in this situation.
Yes.
And because we all want to have empathy for that person. But a lot of times we don't know how to express that in a positive way to make them feel like that we understand what they're going through, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like you was saying earlier, and let them reassure them that you're not alone. I'm here for you. Just allow me to be the help that you need when you need it. Because I'm not gonna force me on you. I'm gonna put it out
Yes.
there. You
That's
know,
important.
yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. You know, to let you know that you got a lifeline, but it's a part in you that got to reach out to that lifeline that's been extended to you. You know what I'm saying? So. uh After I go through that transition, then I start preparing myself, you know, because I
Mhm.
have to allow me to go through all of the whole remnant that I'm got to go through. The anger, the pain, the hurt, the disgust, the whys, because it's always a lot of whys for me.
Oh, yes. Always.
A
Always.
lot of whys, you know. But then too, I had to stop that because my father, the creator, is so magnificent. He always tell me when I asked him why, he always tell me to spell my name backwards, and Tony backwards is why not.
Mm.
So that right there made me stop asking why, and then start asking how can I be of assistance.
I love that. I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's important, right? I think you said something very important there in that we cannot force a person to take our support. You have to be just loving and let them know, I am here for you. How can I help you? Right? You can't force them into healing. You can't force a person when they're not ready. Sometimes they are not ready. Navigating this emotional roller coaster is like walking through a mist. They're feeling unclear. It's unpredictable. They don't know where they are or how they're feeling sometimes, right? But a part of their journey is the clear skies ahead. And sometimes it's you taking their hand and being that guiding light through that mist, through the cloud cover, into the glorious, beautiful blue sun lit up sky, right? And you have to be okay with that. But again, they also have a part that they have to reach out to. And they'll do that in their time. So don't rush them, but just keep checking in on them because it means more to them than they can ever express to you. I try to make myself available to people. What do you need me to do? How can I help? Right? So, got to do a little station identification, of course. You're listening to the Wake Up Happy Sis show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our Black and Brown people because we're telling our stories our way. And that's even important now, and even more important now in these times where they're trying to erase our narrative. They're trying to rewrite the history books, write out the atrocities and slavery and all of that, write out the accomplishments of Black inventors and educators and they're trying to wipe us out. So it's important that we tell our stories, that we share our stories.
Amen.
So I want to talk about a little bit about how do we move forward, right? How do we move forward? How do we cultivate joy and gratitude, right? Because in the aftermath of loss, joy just seems like what? That ever elusive goal, right? If you go into the chat, Tony, the background is in the chat, the little Wake Up Happy Sis chat. If you want to, for the background for the show, I know you like to pop them in. But
Here we go.
sometimes it's in the smallest, most ordinary and random moments where you find that joy, right? That's where you find the joy. Those tiny sparks of sunshine that may happen in your day where you're just remembering something that your friend or your loved one told you, or you're having a conversation with your shared friend group and you guys are just laughing at memories that you guys have had, right? It doesn't negate your grief. It is okay to seek joy in small things.
Mm-hmm.
They can coexist because you want to, it's like a reminder that life continues, that there is beauty in life, that life is an ever changing thing. And it encourages us to notice and cherish these small joys. No, I look at it as I was blessed to be able to spend as much time with my friend Brandon, with my friend Jason, with my friend Natasha, with my friend Resita, with my grandmother, with my great grandmother, with my, mother. All those I've lost, right? Family and friend. I was blessed to be able to spend and have them in my lives in my life for as long as I did. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So give the people their flowers now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Give them their flowers now. If you have a conflict that can be resolved, resolve it. Forgiveness is for you, not for them.
Amen.
It doesn't mean you have to let them back in your life. We're just trying to let go of the pain, because if that person passes before you resolve the conflict, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I've had guilt on my heart because I did not resolve things in my life, right? I've had that. And I don't want that for anybody. I don't want that for anybody in this world to feel like they have grief, they have loss, they have guilt because they did not say, I love you more. They did not show a person, tell someone they're sorry. You can't get that time back. Love on them while you have them here so that you're creating memories so that when they're gone, you have those loving memories. I never want my last memory of someone to be a negative one unless it was deserved. Unless it was deserved. But I never want that. And let's talk a little bit about gratitude, right? Because I know it may seem counterintuitive to think about gratitude when we're so hurt and we don't know why the creator took our loved one. Like you said, Tony, you don't have understanding and you had a lot of whys. But gratitude is such a powerful tool for healing. It's about acknowledging the good that still exists, even as you're going through pain. So I recommend keeping a gratitude journal, right? Go in your prayer closet and express gratitude to the Most High Creator for the things that He is doing in your life, for the fact that He allowed you to have that person in your life as long as you did. We don't always understand why things end the way they ended. And I don't think that every death is on the Creator's head.
No, it's not.
He gave us free will.
Yep.
Some of the death and things that happen are just evil. They're
Mm-hmm.
just evil. But There's always a lesson in everything. There's a lesson in everything that we have to look at. What is the lesson that I meant to learn from this? And how do I carry that forward and implement that lesson into my life going forward? That gratitude journal, that's a big part of it because you're going to start reflecting on positive memories of your loved ones or simply being thankful for the kindness and support that you've received in this time, right? And not focusing so much on what you've lost, but the fact that you had experiences and memories with this person. The practice isn't about ignoring our pain or our loss. It's about finding harmony, getting closer to balance, and recognizing that even in the darkest of times, there's always glimmers of light.
Always.
There's
Always.
always the stars and the moon to light your journey. And sometimes those are people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those are experiences. Sometimes it's the fact that you got on medicine for depression and you now are seeing a therapist. You getting the help that you need. Those are things to be grateful for. So get yourself a gratitude journal, write in it often. When you wake up, write 3 things you're grateful for. And when you go to bed, write 3 things that happened to you in the day that you are grateful for. And see if you don't do that for 30 days, how your life changes, how your mindset changes. You cannot implement an attitude of gratitude and think that your situation will not change and will not get better. And also about being mindful and being mindfulness is about being present in the moment
Yes.
and acknowledging our feelings without judging them. Yes, you might be mad. You might be mad at God. You might be mad at the person who took your loved one away. You might say, fuck cancer, fuck blah, blah, blah. That's okay. But realize that you're angry, but don't judge yourself and beat yourself up for being angry. It's a practice that mindfulness is a practice that really can be healing during grief. Simple. They have simple practices like deep breathing, taking mindful walks where you are just surrounding yourself in nature. If you know anything about Tony gonna be out in some nature. He gonna
Oh,
take his walks. He's gonna be out in nature, being at one with nature and noticing the beauty of the flowers, noticing the changing of the leaves in fall and in winter, the snow, the beauty that is still around you, the life that is still around you. I know in winter it's harder because the grass is brown, some of the trees are turning green and all the leaves are gone, but there is still life. It is in a building stage, it's in a rebuilding stage.
that rebirth mode.
Yes. And it can also be meditative moments, meditation. Those kind of things can help ground you to the present and not allow you to be consumed by your grief to where you're going to go out and do drugs, alcohol, heavier things because you're trying to numb the pain.
Mm-hmm.
The pain is still going to be there. And soon you're going to have to take more and more and more to drown out all that sorrow. So why not replace it with positive things that are going to help us get over and get through these challenges instead of dulling our senses to the pain? And it's hard because sometimes you do just want to take a drink. And there's nothing wrong with that. I will have a damn drink, but I'm not going to drink a bottle, right? I'm not going to drink the whole bottle till I pass out. And another way that we can add joy and gratitude is by channeling our grief into creative expression. Tony's a DJ. He probably got some fire ass mixes that can help bring anybody out of a depression. So if you've not listened to his show, you need to head on over to tell them where to find you, Tony. So
You
they
can find me at www.spreaker.com, Monday through Sunday. That's my platform for the Eye of the Storm. You can catch me Saturday and Sunday at KCCR Radio
yeah,
Cityscape Brownstone from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I guarantee you, if you in a funk, not
he
feeling
gonna help you
good,
come out of it. He gonna help you come out of it.
yeah,
Tony fire.
in them
Okay.
2 hours, you gonna forget whatever was bugging you. You gonna forget it
Yes.
for real, and
And
it's
some
gonna be done in love.
yes, and sometimes that's what we need. We need to be able to get out of our heads. And you could be writing. Journaling is a wonderful creative expression. Write a crazy story. You don't have to always write negative when you're feeling sad, but you can write about your feelings, get them out. Writing is very cathartic. It is very healing. It can also help us work through our emotions and help us understand why we're feeling how we're feeling. But you can write funny things, you can write dramatic things, right? You can paint or draw. Even if you don't have the skill, you can doodle. You can do a paint by numbers, right? Get yourself an adult coloring book. You can play music or play music if you're an artist, right? There are so many art forms. If you're a crafter, make jewelry for somebody. Pour your love into creative expression and share that with someone. Help bring joy to their life because it will bring joy to yours. These art forms can help us articulate our feelings because sometimes it's hard to express exactly how we're feeling. We don't have the right words. Art can help us process our emotions. It can help us create and serve as a tribute to the memory of our loved ones. It helps immortalize our love and our memories in unique and personal ways. It is a way to help your loved one live on through whatever artistic expression you've used. And then finally, community and connection. The power of solid, strong community and being connected with people cannot be overstated when we're dealing with grief. It can be a support group, it can be a religious group, right? Your friends, your family. Just being around people who understand what you've been through, who are willing to listen to you without judging you, and who are willing to share and be vulnerable as you're being vulnerable as well. That can be incredibly comforting and just what people need. And it's in these spaces of shared understanding and empathy that we often find those little pockets of joy and gratitude and light and love. Your friend sees that you're down. They know that you're going through something. You're in the hospital. They show up for you, come to the hospital and make sure that you're okay. They bring you food and you guys have a laugh and you talk about old times, right? These connections are to remind us that one, we don't always have to be weak. We can have moments of vulnerability. I mean, we don't always have to be strong. We can be weak sometimes. We can have moments of vulnerability. We can take our armor off shed those layers of protection and the walls that we've built up, and that there is somebody there to give us the strength that we need when we're feeling at our lowest. It reminds us that even in our darkest times, we are never alone. We're connected to others. And it might be that you're asking yourself, well, I just recently lost somebody. How can I find joy in everyday life when I now feel empty inside? It's a gradual process. Give yourself grace. It's going to take time. But it begins with allowing yourself to appreciate the little things. Go out in the sun and just have that warmth on your skin. Share a laugh with a friend. Share a good meal, right? Give yourself permission to feel joy without feeling guilty. You can have joy and sadness in your life at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Like I said, grief is not a linear process. It is like a sea. There's ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. So, celebrating their life doesn't diminish the love, or celebrating your life doesn't diminish the love you had for the one that you lost. You are still here living. What would they want for you? They wouldn't want you to feel like life is an empty shell. They wouldn't want you to feel like I'll never find happiness and joy and love again. They want you to find someone to love you the way that they loved you, that makes you happy. They want you to live, right? You can also find joy in connecting with others. Talk to your friends who are experiencing the same loss. And joy doesn't always mean happiness. Sometimes it's just simply a moment of peace that you have amidst all the pain that you're going through. Let me say that again for those in the back. Joy does not always equal happiness. Sometimes it's simply a moment of peace amidst all the pain that you are going through. It's like a quiet appreciation for being alive, right? For having connections, for being connected to others who love you just the way your loved one loved you, for knowing that your loved one loved you, and that you will never be alone because you're always carrying them right here in your heart. So as we close out the show today, I want you to remember that you process grief the way that you need to get by, but do it in a way that does not hurt you and does not hurt others, right? I want you to think a little bit about how the loss of your loved one has you feeling right now. Be present in that moment. But also remember the love, the joy, the fun times that you had with that person. Cry when you need to. Scream if you need to. You can express your grief openly. You don't have to be the strong one. Sometimes you break. But don't stay broken. So, I want you to know that I love you, that we send everyone who is going through challenging times and grief and loss and sorrow, we send you words of we send you love, and light. Remember that you are not alone on this journey. Your stories, your love, and your resilience shine a light for all of those around you and for all of us. So let's continue to celebrate the lives of our loved ones, embrace every moment with joy and gratitude because you still have a life to live. And let's support each other with the love and kindness that we want to receive. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep shining your light. So Tony's already told you where you can find him. You said Spreaker.com. And you can also find him on KCCR Cityscape Radio app, sending them hot tunes.
Oh yeah.
And you can find me on the Wake Up Happy Sis website, wakeuphappysis.com. You can find out about my programs, my offerings, how I can help you start living a happy, healing, and fulfilling life. It's there for all of us. We have to choose joy. We have to choose life. With that, I love y'all. And we will see you back on Monday. Y'all be blessed. Don't let the haters get to you, baby.
They're not.
Never will.
Much love, y'all.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Wake Up Happy Sis